guys, Dan here with another week in review where I share with you the comics, trades, graphic novels, whatever you want to call them, the ones I read and reviewed this week. Before we get into that, I want to talk about Stranger Things. If you guys have not seen this new Netflix series, you are totally missing out. I know that nowadays a lot of people are obsessed with 80s culture, and this show reminds me of a lot of different 80s movies and 80s TV shows. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Erie, Indiana. If you've never seen that before, great show. You should check it out. It also kind of reminds me of the old Halloween Season of the Witch movie, Halloween 3, with the way they do their intro for this show. It's kind of a mix of sci-fi. I guess I'm going to call it weird, because it's got this alternate dimension where there's monsters and stuff and people disappear, and it's just a really good fucking show. You should check it out if you have yet to see that. The first book I read this week is Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan's The Strain Book 2, and this is The Fall. This is a literal translation of the novel. I would say I would recommend this for people who just can't sit through the novel. If you don't have the patience to read those big novels, then you might enjoy reading these graphic novels, because it's a literal translation of the novel in this format. The art is a little crude. The vampires, it's kind of hard to tell who they're supposed to be. They all kind of look the same. But I really enjoyed this. I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars. I am still working on the book 2, The Fall. But yeah, this is worth checking out. If you're a fan of the show or if you're a fan of the books, definitely check this out. It's worth reading. Okay, the next book, I usually don't bother sharing you guys the 1-star books that I read, because they're so bad that I don't want to have to make you sit through it. And I was thinking while I was getting mad reading this, because I usually love these characters. I love these characters in all their other respective titles. I love Cloak and Dagger. I love Miles Morales' Spider-Man. I love, Jessica Drew's Spider-Man, the Ultimate version. And the Black Widow and all that. I like these characters, and I like Kitty Pryde, and I couldn't. I hated this book. Oh my god, not only was the art, terrible through a majority of this, it's very sketchy looking. I don't know, it kind of looks like a manga type style, and I don't like it. But yeah, 1 out of 5 stars. It's garbage. If you don't believe me, look it up on Goodreads. You'll see how bad the ratings are for this book. Up next we have Deadpool First, and of course this is a mix-up. It's a collection of different stories throughout the time that Deadpool's been around, starting with his first appearance, team-ups he's had with various Marvel heroes, such as Sasquatch, Hercules, and some others. There were some bad parts, and there were some good parts. So, to be fair, I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. It's okay. If you're new to Deadpool and you don't really know too much about him, I would suggest picking this up if you want to learn more about Deadpool. But like I said, it does have the really bad parts were the first original Deadpool stories. I have to admit, the writing for the original Deadpool was really just not that great back then, but it's worth checking out if you want to get to know the character. Up next, we have Great Pacific Volume 3, Big Game Hunters. I do not know for sure or not, but I think this may be the last volume of this series. I mean, because I'm just saying this because of the way it ended. And I have to say, another comment I have about this volume in particular is that this series was so great. Volumes 1 and 2, I thought were 4 out of 5 star books. But then this one, it just took a wicked nosedive into Crap Town. And I just don't know why did it just take this turn. It went from such a great series into this, which just was okay. I was really disappointed by this book, but I still gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I was kind of really hoping that, you know, it would have continued on being as good as it was, and I think a lot of other people felt the same way about this. If you look the ratings on Goodreads, a lot of other people thought the same thing. They really felt this was not as good as the other two
up next
volumes.
we have
Sandman The Wake, and I think this is volume 10, and this is the last volume in the Sandman series. It's called The Wake because in Volume 9, the Sandman Morpheus had been killed, and in this volume, it is his wake and his funeral, and a couple of different stories, people find out that he has died, and I really felt this was a bad ending for the series. I have to be the only person that I can see on Goodreads that gave this a 2 out of 5 star rating. I just really did not think this was a suitable end to the series. I think it would have been much better if they had just ended at Volume 9 and just, you know, left off with him being dead and the replacement of the dream character with the baby. I think that would have been a much better ending than this. Just to not have known, you know, what was going to happen, which they pretty much did with this book anyways. So I don't know, I think the whole wake and funeral thing was really unnecessary. It just wasn't that great of a story. That's just my opinion, though. Up next we have Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps. And I have to say, I don't understand why. Well, I kind of, you know, I get why it's called the Carol Corps because it's Carol Danvers. But why call it Carol Corps when they're called the fucking Banshees in the fucking book? So I really don't understand why they called it something when they don't call themselves that in the book. Well, anyways, this was really dry, guys. I usually like Captain Marvel, but this kind of took place in a world where it seemed like it was the 1940s, and they were, you know, they're pilots, and it's so vague because they don't really say anything about what their world is about. It's just that they fly around and Captain Marvel plays tricks on her team. And then she aspires to fly up into the sky to find out what's beyond the barrier in space, to see if there really are stars. So I really thought this was a really horrible story. To be quite honest with you guys, I think I'm the only one who thought this was like, well, no, there was one other person who thought this was a 2 out of 5 star book. It's just really wasn't that great. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who love this writer, Kelly Sue DeConnick, but yeah, she's a great writer, but this story was crap, and like, I don't know. Read it yourself and see what you think, but I really didn't think it was that great. So this is where I'm going to end my week in review. I don't have any more books to share, so I guess I'm just going to wrap it up here. I'm just going to say the thing I usually say is if you read any of these, or if you intend on reading them, let me know down below. Thank you for watching. If you're not already a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. Like and share this video with your friends if you're a fan of comics. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, later.